everyone, I hope y'all are having a great day, and today I'll be reviewing The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. And oh my god, the white balance is ridiculous when I hold this book up. But yeah, this book needs no introduction. It is one of the most beloved books of the modern age in my opinion, and I think it's the kind of book that you can take into any building and without a doubt there's at least one person in that building who has read and loved this book. So consequently, of course, I'm very hesitant to review it. Everyone and their mothers love this book, so I feel like if I say even the slightest negative thing, I'm going to be attacked. But as always, to me, honesty is the best policy. There was a lot riding on this book. I had very high expectations, and I'm just very surprised. This book was nothing like I thought it was going to be, and it was remarkable in its own way. It was very crafted, and I don't think that's the right word I'm looking for. But the way the book was written was so meticulous, it's difficult to believe that this is Hosseini's debut. There was just so much thought and effort that went into crafting this story, and I think that's also what brought out this book's biggest flaw. It's just that the story felt too intentional, and I'm sure to half of you guys that doesn't make sense, and then to the other half, it makes sense, but you're thinking that that's not an actual flaw. You're like, Sophia, that's called good writing, maybe you've heard of it. I don't really know how to explain it. It kind of felt like a Bible story, I guess is the analogy I'm gonna go with. Do you know what I mean? Like the arcs of the story and the development of the characters and the themes and the symbolism, they were all so very present and so very deliberate that it kind of detracts from the story. Like you want to invest all of your heart into this book, but its calculated nature almost brings in this unwelcome mechanical tinge. Maybe you understand, but you don't think that's a valid flaw, and that's okay. That was basically my only criticism about this book. This book is really something else. You read it and you immediately understand why it's received so much acclaim. It was written to be remarkable. Khaled Hosseini knows exactly what he's doing when he's writing. He has a firm and dexterous grip on all the strings of his story, and he is just an undeniably masterful weaver. I'm gonna say that I accidentally spoiled myself on one aspect of the story, and I'll talk about what that was and how that happened in the spoiler section. And I thought that one aspect in which I'd spoiled myself was the entire story. I thought that was it. I thought that was the entire novel, but it wasn't. There's so much going on in this book. There are so many twists and turns. It's a constant roller coaster of emotions, and the way the plot unraveled was very unexpected. I was constantly surprised. It was like plot twist after plot twist, and at times this book was a little bit abrasive in how many shocks that were in store, but it also made this book very readable. This story is so special. It's interesting that my personal situation is worlds away from that of the main character in this book, as I'm sure a lot of other readers can also say for themselves, but the way that I could connect to this story regardless was extraordinary. There's so much heart to this story, and that's what escapes the pages and lands within you when you're reading. It's so easy to just slip into the shoes of the main character, even though at times he's so despicable. Oh, that reminds me, I haven't told you what this book is about, and I'm gonna leave it that way. The only thing I knew about this book when I was going into it was that it was about a boy named Amir who made this extremely bad mistake in his childhood, and it haunts him for the rest of his life. If you haven't read this book, that's all I'm going to tell you plot-wise. This book is set partially in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan obviously has a very different culture than that of America. And personally, as an American, I think in American culture, any kind of Middle Eastern culture is very much stigmatized, so consequently I don't know very much about them. And what perceptions I do have of them are usually very stereotypical and often stained by negative media. So that being said, there's a lot of culturally unfamiliar territory in this book. Hosseini incorporates a lot of foreign words in his book, and my copy personally doesn't have a glossary. I don't know if other copies do, but mine doesn't. And that kind of made me feel like I was just plopped into an ocean without having been taught how to swim. So I had to grasp for context clues to keep me afloat. Of course, I could have just Googled the unfamiliar terms, but nah, too much effort. You can still understand what's going on even without direct translations of all the italicized words, but I think I would have felt much more comfortable reading had I known what all those words meant. All of the characters were so richly developed. They felt so real and tangible. My favorite character was definitely Hassan, who is Amir's childhood best friend, and also the sweetest, purest, most innocent thing in the world. Oh my goodness, I love him. There's really nothing I can say about this book that hasn't already been said. This book is pretty astonishing. Once you've read it, it's easy to see why everyone glorifies it. If you haven't read The Kite Runner, I definitely think you're missing out. I'm not gonna lie, it's a draining book. It's infuriating, and agonizing and frustrating and excruciating, but it's also hopeful and moving and heartwarming, and in the pages you can see glimpses of your own family and your own friends and your own world swimming alongside Amir's. So that's it for the non-spoiler section. I'm going to go into a quick spoiler section that's basically going to be solely devoted to just talking about plot points because I've saved my best words about the book's other qualities for this section. So if you haven't read The Kite Runner, please go read it. It's fantastic. I highly doubt you'll regret it. Spoilers start in 3, 2, 1, now. Before I even read the first chapter of this book, I looked at the Wikipedia for the movie. And on the Wikipedia page, there's this subsection titled Controversy, and I was like, whoa, controversy? What's going on? I need to know about this. So I clicked it, and I read it, and it was about a rape scene of a child. So I immediately assumed that that was what Amir was guilty about. I immediately assumed that Hassan was probably the one raped and that Amir just watched it happen and didn't say anything, which turns out that's what happened. And I thought that was going to be the only surprising thing about the story, but nah bruh, nah. This book is just jam-packed with surprises. At first I hated Amir so much. But he grew on me as the book went along. Like, he disgusted me. But of course that's just set up for his development later in the book. I could not believe that someone was so cruel that they would just let their friend be raped right in front of them and then frame that friend so that they would have to be kicked out. That's so revolting. That's not even human. The second Rahim Khan started telling Amir about Hassan's life after Amir went to America, I was like, oh god dang it, he's dead. He's dead. My favorite character. The sole symbol of just purity and goodness in the book. He's dead. He's dead. He's gone. Hassan was unbelievable in the sense that I cannot fathom a real person being as loyal as he was. When he smashed the pomegranate against his own head, I wanted to scream at him. Like, I love you so much, but why do you have to be so stupidly abnegation all the time? This story is really a beautiful one. The redemption Amir strives for is very touching and far more dramatic than I thought it was going to be. The encounter with Asif and Sorab's attempted suicide, it was just all so much, you know? It was real life, but it felt like real life with angst and drama turned up to their highest notches. And I think that's what really made this book so draining. It was just that so many things happened in these pages that by the end I was exhausted. It just takes so much out of you. I don't really want to dwell on the spoiler section too much. Everything was sad, everything was dramatic, everything was hard to read. Without a doubt, it's an impactful story and I'm so very glad that I read it. Please let me know what you thought of The Kite Runner. I hope you don't hate me for saying that slightly negative thing about it in the beginning. I'm so afraid of saying that and posting this because I know this is such a beloved book. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Do you disagree? Do you agree? Please let me know if you've read any of Khaled Hosseini's other books, and of them, which was your favorite, because I would love to know. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and happy reading. Goodbye! Also, I know I have a disgusting pimple, and I know that you can see it. Just don't mention it, please.